All right, so I've been working on my sunroof and we're working really good right now. This was basically non-operational before. I was terrified to use it because I told my wife one day you'd open it and it wouldn't close. Oops. It's got its auto open and close now. It's pretty buttery. Tilt up, tilt down. It's sealing really well at the top. So what I did to accomplish this, and I'll post some pictures with this, but pull this, 2 Phillips screws back here, drop the motor, and my motor was nasty. And I grabbed a replacement motor from the junkyard. I didn't end up using it because I saw what was going on. And in my situation, the guide cables were just coated. And they run in like this little tube. And you could just tell. I mean, there's no way they would travel well through there. It was nasty. So I cleaned what I could see of the cables a couple times, and I thought this isn't working really good. So the cables actually are in a little case, and it's held together with 2 Phillips screws. So I pulled that case off, and you expose like this much of each cable. And so I wire brushed them clean. And since the motor was off, then I could manually move the sunroof. So I slid the sunroof a couple inches, cleaned more cable, slid the sunroof, cleaned more cable, and it's tough to move the sunroof, but as I kept going, it got easier until I got the cable fully cleaned. And then once you're done with that, you can actually access those cables from the top up there, and you can only see them a little bit. So I sprayed anti-seize grease in there. I bought an aerosol version of that. And I don't know if that was the right stuff to use, but it seemed like there was anti-seize in it before, so I went with it again. And once you do that, you drive, this part's super important. You drive the window to the closed position, and you're gonna have to tap it back and forth to get it where you want it. Go up and look to make sure it's sealed properly. Get it as close as you can. And then there's a T25 here, over there, and over there. And you can adjust those. So that's like where you adjust the glass, probably also how you remove the glass. So I adjusted it to where I wanted it. Took the motor off, completely removed it with the power on. Drove it all the way back and then drove it all the way forward just to tell the motor like that's where you're supposed to be. Then I reassembled it, and that's my result. It's working where it's supposed to. It stops here on the auto function. I don't think you should drive it further back than that. Anytime you drive mine back further than that, it gets stuck. I don't think it's really meant to be driven back further than that. Maybe it was 20 years ago, but so just be mindful of the buttons. But she is working. If I could figure out how to fix the back window, that would be sick. That's probably the next project, but that feels pretty good to have an operational sunroof. And I know what you guys are going to say. I know you're going to say a good sunroof is a closed one. I don't care. I want mine to work. I camp in here. I like fresh air. So at the very least, if it breaks in the middle of nowhere, I've got 10 mil with me. I've got a Phillips screwdriver. I can manually close the sunroof. So I don't want to hear nothing about that. You can say a little bit. It's cool. I can't stop you. It's freedom of speech. But that's my little how-to on this.